Hey everyone, it's triplemangothreat, and today we're talking about the top 10 saltiest cards in 2020. I'm going to talk about the card, why it's so salty, and why people don't like it being played against them. Starting at number 10, we have Armageddon for 3 and a white. It's a sorcery. It says, destroy all lands. So of course, nobody's going to like this because you're getting rid of their mana sources, unless, they have mana rocks where they can recover a little bit better. But when you destroy someone's lands, it's not a good thing. They do not like it because you have to start from turn 1 again, it seems like. There are some control decks and even land destruction decks where this is a card you're going to see in them because it destroys all lands. Even if it's their own, it doesn't matter because they want everyone else to be behind just like they are. At number 9, we have Decree of Annihilation for 8 red. It's a sorcery. Remove all artifacts, creatures, lands, graveyards, and hands from the game. We can cycle it for 5 red. When you cycle Decree of Annihilation, destroy all lands. For 10 mana, we're going to exile artifacts, creatures, lands, graveyards, and hands from the game. This is a really bad one, and even when you cycle it, you're destroying all lands. So you probably could find this in the newest Commander 2020 deck, where cycling is a thing. Again, people aren't going to like this because you're getting rid of all their resources, their mana rocks, their huge creatures, whatever. So I guess if you want to play this, this would be something that you'd play right before you win the game. But 10 mana's a lot, Moving on, number 8 is Cyclonic Rift. For 1 and a blue, it's an instant. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. And its overload cost for 6 and a blue, you may cast this spell for its overload cost. If you do, change its text by replacing all instances of target with each. This is crazy because it's an instant. We can play it on someone else's turn. For 7 mana, we return all their non-land permanents to their hand. This can be devastating, especially when they're already going so slow as it is. Nobody likes this card. Whenever they play this, you just put your head down and try to rebuild from there. Number 7, Jin Cataxes Core Augur for 8 blue. Legendary creature Praetor. It has flash, it's a 5/4. At the beginning of your end step, draw 7 cards. Well, that's great. Each opponent's maximum hand size is reduced by 7. So now your opponents don't have any hands. They cannot play Magic the Gathering, the game we all love. This is a great card. We're drawing 7 cards, right? But our opponent isn't going to have a hand at all. So again, this is another card that is not fun to play against. Coming in at number 6, we have Static Orb for 3, colorless. It's an artifact. If Static Orb is untapped, players can't untap more than 2 permanents during their untap steps. Not being able to untap your permanents is a huge thing because when it's your turn, you want to untap all your lands, all your creatures, your artifacts, and now you're only going to be able to untap 2 of them. Yeah, this is another card nobody likes to play against. Number 5 is Jockle Hops for 4 red. It's a sorcery. Destroy all artifacts, creatures, and lands. They can't be regenerated. Again, land destruction is really what people do not like about these cards. If we did something like destroy all creatures and artifacts, I think this would be less salty. Number 4, Vorinclex, Voice of Hunger, 6 green, 7/6, legendary creature Praetor with Trample. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. Whenever an opponent taps a land for mana, that land doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. So we're looking at a Static Orb kind of effect, freezing their lands, not being able to untap them the next untap step. This card is not a fun one to play against. And understandably so, it's doubled in its price the last time I checked because right now it's looking to be $30. Nobody wants to play against this card. Number 3 is Expropriate for 7 blue. It's a sorcery with Council's Dilemma. Starting with you, each player votes for time or money. For each time vote, take an extra turn after this one. For each money vote, choose a permanent owned by the voter and gain control of it. Exile Expropriate. This has gone down in price because I think it used to be $40 card. Right now I'm seeing it as a $15 card. Now taking extra turns is really what's going on here that's going to trigger everyone because if you take their permanents, there's already bunches of cards like that. But again, taking extra turns, nobody's going to like that because then it's just like you're playing solitaire over and over. Number 2, Winter Orb for 2 colorless mana. It's an artifact. A player may not untap more than 1 land during the untap phase of each of his or her turns. So we get a similar effect of Static Orb, except it's just focusing on lands and we can only untap 1 of them. Luckily, this is also targeting the player who played it, but I'm sure they have plenty of ways to abuse this. They're maybe using their mana rocks, or they have ways to untap their lands with silly things. Nobody likes their lands not being able to be untapped, and this can get ugly really quick. Last is our number 1 card, and you probably guessed it. It's Stasis for 1 and a blue. It's an enchantment. Players do not get an untap phase. Hey blue during your upkeep or stasis is destroyed. Cards still do not untap until the next untap phase. There are ways to make a permanent lock on everything, which is really mean, and again, not being able to untap is a really harsh thing to do to every player. So in conclusion, you can see that if we play cards that prohibit people from playing Magic, the game we all love, it's going to end up in the salty top 10 of 2021, and so on. If you want any of the cards I mentioned in this video, you can go to the description and purchase any of them by using the link. It really helps out the channel when you purchase any of these cards, or if you just want to click it to buy something else. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this top 10 2020 saltiest cards. I appreciate all the feedback you're giving by liking, commenting, and subscribing for more Mango content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.